One, two, three. We want to welcome everybody today to Mom and Dad Tells. Our favorite two people are Mom and Dad, and we have Hantie. Yeah. Tonight, or today, excuse me, we're going to talk about pride.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have it. A lot of organizations have it. But as the Bible points out in Proverbs, I believe it's 18. Excuse me. Yeah, I think Proverbs. Somewhere in Proverbs 8:16, 18, excuse me, it says this: pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And you got a lot of people that are prideful, you know. And a lot of times they put it in their slogans. Pride. And they don't even know that they're heading for destruction. And they have a haughty spirit that, and a lot of times pride comes to people because of deficiencies in their own life to help overcome those. So they make a false sense of security about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how pride starts because, you may not feel you're cute, but then you realize someone told you're cute, or you feel like I'm going to be cute and you act cute and things start happening for you. And all of a sudden you have a pride when someone says something about you, you get very distraught over it.
Very defensive.
Extremely defensive, or if you weren't smart growing up. I'll just take my situation. I almost flunked out of first grade. When people say things like, "Oh, you're not smart," you got to catch yourself. Like, why am I going to get mad at you? And if I'm smart, who cares if you recognize it or not?
That's right.
But that's the whole thing about pride. Pride comes in as a false protection for a lot of people when things, I mean, think about it. If you get disrespected at a restaurant, you are not giving a tip. That's your way of saying, I'm not giving you a tip because you don't deserve it. Yet God gives us grace and mercy, and you should give a tip regardless to show God's grace. So what do you guys think about this thing called pride?
Pride can be very destructive. I think it was today. I went to the paint store because I needed to get some paint.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked in, I guess the owner came out and in the main way he said, "What do you want?" And his assistant came out, "Oh, I got this, I got this." And he went out and got what I wanted. So a lot of times, people can become very prideful and not realize it
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything to make him mad, but his first comment was, "What do you want?"
Mm-hmm.
In a mean way.
As though you're not going to buy anything, you're going to steal something or look around. It's like, okay,
Yes,
yeah, and
yes.
that's because there's a pride factor. You can't be who you think you are because you don't look like the image I want you to be.
Right, right. And I think that's what he saw. He saw, oh, this black man doesn't have any
Mhm.
money. He's going to come in here and well, not hold you up, but he's going to come in here and not buy anything.
Right.
So his assistant said, "Oh, I got this." And he was
Hmm.
very nice. And he
Hmm.
happened to be Hispanic.
Yeah.
He happened to be Hispanic. And I pulled out my wallet and I gave him cash. And
Hmm.
man's eyes got so big.
Hmm.
Who in today's modern age
Hmm.
pays for things in cash? Credit cards are taking over this country.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of times people have it. So anybody else have anything on this thing called pride?
Oh, go before fall. That's all I know.
That's what Todd repeated in the Bible.
No.
Well, I think we all have some pride, but it's also important as to how we use it.
Is pride a negative or a positive word?
It's a negative word.
It is.
Unfortunately, it is. The Bible says pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall.
But does that say all pride?
Well,
I think I'm going to use me as an example because I
okay.
don't know about nobody else.
Okay.
Anybody else? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I have pride when it comes to my job.
Okay.
I'm prideful to wait on students when they come up to the desk. I want to give them the very best service that I have. I think that comes from pride. And I think that's, I hope it's good.
Well, this is the thing. There's a thing called confidence, right? There's a slight difference between pride, because pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. The
Yeah.
achievements
Okay.
of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. And when you look at King Nebuchadnezzar, you know,
He was very
Daniel
proud.
told him, "Hey, bro, you're about ready to be like a beast here, real quick." And one day he went on top of his, palace and said, "You know what? I built this joint." And before he could utter the rest of out his mouth, he became an animal.
Yes.
And a lot of times, confidence, there's a difference between confidence and pride. Confidence is, I know I can do a job. I know I'm good at it. That's different. And I know this is the thing. Confidence is a little different from pride. Pride is that you're admiring your own achievements. Very scary, because those things become idols to you.
That's a thin line. That's a thin line.
It is a thin line, because when I think about it, I take pride in fixing my Sabbath dinner for people who are coming.
But like I
Or
said,
pride when you play the piano.
and this is the problem you have with it. It's not always, it's not a good thing, folks. I mean, that's what the Bible says.
So
You have to look at it this way. People became jealous of her because she plays so well.
But if you look at his confidence, if you put your confidence in God, knowing that God's giving you that ability and stuff, you can go forward knowing that something will happen. I mean, think about it. Samson had pride. He thought, because he had a gift. And he got cocky and arrogant with it, because pride always comes before destruction. It always takes a turn, and that's what the Bible actually talks about. And this is a great discussion. Got Hantie off her bed tonight, folks.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
we got her off her bed tonight, folks.
I'm thinking about the Good Samaritan.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yes.
I mean, dissect it. I mean, could he? Was he enthralled with himself, and that's why he stopped and helped the wounded?
No, because he knew the man needed help, and he did everything.
But didn't he take pride in doing that?
No, it was just the right thing to do, Hantie.
Right.
Because the problem.
I don't know.
Well, it's okay. That's what we have.
I think there's two types of pride.
Okay, there's two types of pride.
I think there's a good and a bad, and I think you can use it
in a good way or
against.
I take pride in the way my house looks.
Okay.
Now, is that a bad thing, or is that
I'm just saying, Proverbs 16:18, pride come before the fall.
Oh dear.
Okay, so I take pride in going to church on Sabbath, in the way that I look.
I'm just repeating the text, y'all. But that's the whole point. Eventually, the Bible even says your good looks are going to hand to you, and Mom, you look good, beautiful people, by the way, gorgeous people. But your looks are going to eventually fall away. The Bible says that, unfortunately. We know black don't really crack, but like I said, but that's what happens. Eventually, it will. What you going to then do when it falls away?
Yes.
I mean, I went to school with a lot of pretty people. Some of it didn't carry over to this age group. It happens. And if you rely on that, you know what I'm saying? That's like, you got people who have doctorates, people who have masters, and they rely on that education. I have my doctor or my master. It doesn't make that you're going to be great in everything. You're going to still make mistakes. I've seen some of the most brilliant people make some of the dumbest moves. Even President Obama, smart as he says, it amazes him how many people who have doctorates come up with these crazy ideas. But pride is a self-serving thing. Looking at what you admire the most versus saying, you know what, this is what God has given me.
There's a man that in our church that I really admire because he's so humble. And, when I first came there, I said, what do you want me to call you? Dr. So-and-so or just plain Joe? He said, just plain Joe is fine. That's fine. And this man travels all over the world preaching.
Mhm.
And he's so humble. He's
You
so
know,
humble. And that's the thing that uh, education can make you very prideful.
yes.
It can make you very prideful. I've got a PhD.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can agree. I can agree with that.
But
But
that's
these are negative prides.
Mhm.
Is there nothing is positive pride?
no,
Nothing?
nothing,
Well, I
Hantie.
think there's a certain standard we have when we go out of the house. Our hair has to be combed. We have to, you know.
But you're representing. There's a difference between
Yeah,
representing yourself and having
I
confidence
don't,
and
I don't
stuff.
think that's prideful. I
No,
think that's just you are really, uh,
self-respect.
yeah, respectful for the way you look.
Hmm.
Like Nebuchadnezzar. Now he wound up, how do you say it? Going around naked,
Yeah.
eating dung,
Hmm.
and he was a king.
Yeah.
He
I
was.
remember he put on king. I mean, think about it. He was rich. He had everything in the world, and he stood on his castle. Says, "I built this joint.
Mm-hmm,
I look like this. I had this thing." And that little thing. I mean, think about it. It took Satan out. He was reflecting God's glory. God's light bearer. You know what I'm saying? And he felt that he could be as the Most High,
mm-hmm.
be like the Most High. It wasn't good for him to even be equal to God. He had to be bigger than God, and that's
Mhm.
what pride does. Pride never stays in the box. And
I
like
go for Paul.
Yes.
and like I said, that's the scary thing about it because people try to make pride a healthy thing all the time, but then it can turn on you.
Mhm, mhm.
It turns on you every time. If you just look at history, it turns on you every time. There's always that point where you get to the biggest heights that you have, and all of a sudden the bottom drops out.
Yes.
The Bible says, "Be humble." Moses was the most humble man. This dude departed the Red Sea. This dude made Pharaoh let his people go.
Mhm.
You know, I think this was a spirited debate tonight.
We celebrated a man's funeral today. He was a principal at assistant principal at Ring Lardner.
Mhm,
And one day he came into school and he was so upset.
mhm,
He came even into my room.
mhm,
And he was so upset because he went to a store down the street to buy his lottery ticket.
mhm,
And a man came up to him and said, "Aren't you so and so?"
mhm,
Yes. He said, "Aren't you the assistant principal?" And,
mhm,
yes, I am.
mhm,
He said, I think you're doing a piss poor job. Oh boy, he was so angry. And
mhm.
I've never seen him that angry before. And even came to me, you know, I can't do anything about this.
Well, Dad, you could give comfort because everybody knows they were dumping on you and being mean to you. It's funny. We'll have another discussion on that next Mom and Dad. When people are being mean to you and you're trying to be a good Christian, it's funny when they get dogged out, they know exactly who to go to comfort them.
That is true. That is true. And
When
that's
they
why I
when they're
said,
down and out and feel railroaded, they know the exact person to go to, but yet they don't help those same people out and talk to them positively in private spaces. But we'll
Mhm,
talk about that on another Mom and Dad's talks.
mhm.
So, you know, what, folk, we want your comments. Put all your stuff down here, whether you agree or disagree. That's okay. This is all family. See, we all love each other. We're gonna go to Thanksgiving, see each other in Huntsville, Alabama. Hello.
Yes. And
But
hopefully there won't be any fights.
no, there won't be. There won't be.
That's in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes. So we're gonna let everybody enjoy their time today. We want to thank you for enjoying this spirited conversation with us. Please take this to your homes and your kids and have a great discussion about this because I think it's a great discussion. So next time we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talks.